Hey, good evening, everybody. So we're working on one of the new features for Lucky's cat tunnels. We're trying to mix it up a little bit and do some different things for him so it's not just a straight tunnel that he's running through. Trying to put in some different looks, some different things that make it more interesting for him and for the friends and family that'll be watching and just watching him enjoying his outdoor enclosure and all this. So what we're doing now is taking one of the cat tunnels. This is just the floor of part of it right now, and I've drawn the layout lines on there. This is 4 feet long, and we're gonna cut a 3-foot wide channel in it that will be about 8 inches across, and it'll be the center 3 feet of this. You can probably see the lines on there. And then we're gonna cover that with this plexiglass, which is 5/16" thick plexiglass. And so you'll actually be able to, not only will Lucky be able to look down and see, look down through the bottom of the tunnel as he's walking over things, but we thought it would be kind of interesting for people to be able to look up and watch him, walking over the top, because these tunnels will be suspended at about face level. I'm a little worried that the plexiglass is going to be a little flexible, so we got this 3/16" metal rod, and I'm going to put those across underneath the plexiglass at a couple of points to give it a little bit more rigidity, but not really obstruct the view or anything. So that's what I'll be working on. I'm going to cut that plywood out now with the jigsaw, and then we'll cut the plexiglass and we'll put it in there and see how it all works. So hopefully this comes out okay. Stand by. Okay, well, now that this is cut out, we've cut out this 3-foot section out of this 4-foot base for the cat tunnel. So now that this is cut out, we just need to cut the the plexiglass piece that will cover that, so that when Lucky's walking down it, he can look right down through it and see what's beneath him. And those of us that are outside the tunnel can look up and watch him walking over it. So now it's time to cut some plexiglass. So I put tape down the center of the plexiglass, which is right along the cut line, so that it'll help stop the plexiglass from splintering a little bit as I'm cutting it. And then I just turned it over so I can put tape on the other side as well. And I'm actually using the piece that I just cut as a little base to support the plexiglass while I'm doing this. And this is kind of neat because it gives you a little bit of a look of kind of how it's going to be when it's all put together with the clear top on it. So that's kind of cool looking. Hopefully Lucky will appreciate that. Okay, well, the first piece of plexiglass is cut, and you can kind of see it in place here. It's hard to see now because the wood isn't really painted and there's plywood underneath, but that'll give you an idea of what it looks like as he's walking along here. He's going to be walking over this 3 feet of clear plexiglass so he can look down, and more importantly, we might look up and see him walking overhead. That'd be kind of funny. So I started cutting that plexiglass with a hacksaw, which only worked for so long until the top bar of the hacksaw got in the way. So I switched to the mini hacksaw, and that was very, very unbelievably slow going. And so I said to hell with it, and I went with the jigsaw. I was a little worried about using the power tool on the plexiglass. I didn't want it to shatter, but I did have tape on both sides. And as long as the blade was going pretty fast, it just kind of went right through it, just stayed on line, and that seemed to work pretty good, and it saved me a lot of elbow grease. So that worked out well, and have a little bit more to do on this, but looks like it's coming together pretty nicely. Okay, here's the latest. On the top of this piece of plywood, I wanted to cut some slots here where I could place these metal rods to give the plexiglass a little more support. And I tried doing it with a chisel, but being in plywood, it kept notching out places I didn't really need it. Anyway, so I just flipped it upside down and ran it across the table saw a few times to cut these grooves all the way across. So now these metal rods just lay right in here into the plywood and allow the plexiglass to just lay right on top of it. And now those rods give it a little more support, just in case. It didn't really feel like it was flexing that much when I pressed on it before, but it's just my hand pressing on it. And Lucky is a very active cat, and he's pretty big, and I didn't want him to bound onto this thing and have it flex too much in the middle at some point. So these little thin metal bars give it a pretty good, extra amount of stability. And also, I think they add to it visually. I think it's kind of interesting. If you look at it from underneath, that's kind of neat. So anyway, that's it right here. And now it needs to be painted, and I need to put the wire on it, the cage on it, and then I need to add the doors, because this is going to need to open up so that we can get into it and either change the plexiglass at some point if need be, or just clean the plexiglass from all his muddy footprints and so forth, so you can still see through it. So that's it for now.